I'm talking about the fact that the government seems to believe that everybody is poor. And they are doing some things that will make you go, ouch. Did they say that? Did they do that? Are they going to do that? The taxing of well water, the water of the well. Is that right? Who came up with this idea anyway? Is this what they really want to do to we, the poor of the Bahamas? Does that mean that the people in the family of islands
Is this what they really
who
want to do
want to have
to weed?
their facilities furnished with running water or well water, so to speak, are they going to be taxed for that? Family island people, I'm talking about. Of course, here in New Providence, it's the same thing, you know. There are many people here in New Providence who have well water. We're going to get to that today because I kind of find that hard to believe. But if that's what they're saying, does that mean that they're going to just taxes and taxes and taxes? Because if you are going to really consider, as a legislator in the Bahamas, today, in this day and time, in 2024, when you just finished celebrating 3 years in office under your administration, and you're going to come back and talk about you're going to tax for well water, you're telling me that you have no ideas. That's what you're saying to me. I don't know about the rest. You got to be out of your cotton picking mind. I'm saying that today. To tax the water on the well, unless they're going to tell me something new that all of a sudden everybody's now digging wells and they're getting water directly from the wells and not going through Water and Sewage Corporation. Whatever they tell me, it's got to be something very urgent and something most believable for me to swallow it and say, well, that's why they're doing it. Because one like me, I cannot just support. I don't care what you're saying to me. We don't need any in this country, much less the tax people on the well they get from the water, on the water they get from the well. See, there was an old man who said to me, son, if you give them an inch, you'll take a mile. We've been given the government and all, not just this particular government, all of them, too much leeway. We've been giving it to them. So they're taking a mile. That's what it amounts to, you know. This is simple, plain, honest to goodness English. I can't put it no better. If that's what they're going to do, then heaven help us. Now, this is how I believe. I don't believe that Senor Davis is going to let this one fly. That's just what I believe. After all, he came from the era of the wells. That right there should stop him dead in his tracks because he came from the era of the wells. Grew up on Wolf Road, through the Baxo, around McKinney Bottom area. And he knows just how the situation really is. To revert to that kind of style in his new government is a crying shame. I don't care who telling him to do it. I'm telling him to stop it. It just ain't right. And we shouldn't even have this situation in the country now where we have people getting water out of the wells, because they told me years ago when I was building apartments, they said to me, listen, you can't dig in this area, you can't dig in that area. And this is on Fort Charlotte Hill. You know, water, plenty of water around there. They say you can't dig because people got, what you call them now? The thing for the inside bathroom, the toilets, the cesspits. That's what you call them, cesspits. See, some words ain't gone on my head now. That's how far I ahead of them. Words ain't gone on my head now. Because the truth is, I can't believe that if we are thinking like that, we must be in a primitive state. But I can tell you this: the rich are getting richer, the poor are going to get poorer, and there's no hope for this country if you have people like that who lacks the leadership leading you. End of story. But we're going to get to that. What we're going to do first and foremost in our episode today here on the show at 19 minutes past 5 o'clock, we want to really talk about a lot about this whole matter of Lincoln Bain and the COI, which people are now saying they're saving grace. Everyone is now saying that to me. That's what they're saying to me, you know. I don't know what the politicians are now hearing. I don't know what they believe. I don't know why they want to discount this young man who has been bold and courageous to stand up for people's rights and make it happen on the ground daily. I don't know why they find it hard to believe that he will get 19 people already in his first naming out, ready to run. I don't know why they find it hard to believe. With the way things have been going, everybody would want to run with a new party because they asking the question, what gives? But now you know it gives when you see you got elements in the government who are advising Senior Davis, tax them on the well water, man, tax them. You know that ain't right. You know that over. Now, some of you people who are high and mighty, living off the hog, got good job, you don't use no well water. Oh, that's rubbish. Oh, well water. No, me? Well water? No, child. No. I can imagine you. But there are many people who use the well water. And the well water is good. But you are so high and mighty, you wouldn't give it a second thought. You went to your inside bathroom and the rest of it and so forth and so on. And that's good. And I'm proud of you. I really am. Not everybody grew up that way. Let me just tell you a quick little story before we get into our show today. See, I used to bathe on the back porch. My mother and father made a place for us on the back porch that I had to go to the well, bring the water in, put down several buckets, or any old kind of can, because they didn't have them big buckets then, or kind of old can, throw it over me, after then soap it down, and we were clean as a whistle. The well water. We got an old pump there in the yard, still right here on the property where we live right now. Still on the property where I live right now. You pump it, you prime it, you prime it. You get that water up. I'm telling you something what you need to know. You throw that water over your head, after you done soap you down with Lifebuoy soap or carbolic soap, and you bathe your skin. You smell clean for days. This is the importance of well water, because you already know what I'm talking about. You wash the dishes with the well water. You cook with the well water. On Tree Rock. I thought telling you what I know. I ain't telling you what somebody tell me. With well water. You understand me? Well water had its time, and it should not be anymore in the Bahamas. But we so primitive. Our people are so backward. We ain't want nothing. That's why they could tax you on well water. Today, in 2024. Now, I make a big deal of that. You know why I make a big deal of that? Because it's sickening. How far do we have to come to arrive? How far do we have to come to arrive? Anyway, I'll talk about that in a minute. Just a little quick story on the well water, the usage of well water, how important it was back in the day. Gray Davis time, back in the day, because he's older than I am. Hello. I only showing you something. If a man comes from that era, back so, over so, come this way in 2024, now, today, in the New Bahamas, and he want to tax you on well water, you got to be foolish. Let me just tell it to you. You got to be foolish. That's what I'm saying to you today. So you could write it down. Steve don't support it at all. Yes, I got bathroom now. Yes. That wasn't always there. I used to bathe on the back porch. All of we. The whole 9 yards of us. And there's plenty of us. And we still in this area. Own this area. We are in this area big time today. 1930, my father came and bought the property in Chippingham from Susan Mora. You follow? White woman. And we bathed on the back porch until I was a man to get married at 21 years old. I took my wife, who I've been married to for the last 40 years. Okay? I'm telling you this for a reason. Don't think I'm just talking. I'm telling you this for a reason. And you're going to let some people come who grew up with privilege in their mouth, dropping all of them out, tell you they're advising the prime minister to put the tax on us for well water. That's how far we don't know the history. Unbelievable. But I didn't just come to talk about that. I come to talk about some other business today. And so forgive me if I run off a little bit, but I just had to say that to you. I had to say that to you because I know that you don't know it. These children who go into COB, man, they good. And we wish them the best of luck. We wish them all the luck in the world. We're going to need them. They're going to build our country. But they ain't going to go back and visit nothing from no past and bring it back to bring taxes upon us. That's not going to happen, you know. These people are looking up and moving on. They ain't looking for no well water, what daddy them used to do. Are we serious? When I think of it, I can't believe that, you know. Are we serious? Lord of mercy. It's 27 minutes behind the hour, 5 o'clock. I want to say here, good afternoon, Lincoln Bain. How you doing, sir? All is well.
Good afternoon, my brother. I am good. How are you doing?
I see you. I see you smiling as I talked about some things that is now.
Yeah, man.
And I know that you were like, really? Is that so? Yes, that's so. How you been?
I have been awesome, man. We are right here in the fight to save our one nation. We're in the fight, Steve, and we're not giving up. We're gonna keep fighting for this country, and people are waking up, and that's what's most important.
Yes. And I believe that now that you have done some things that you have done, there are people now who are been made believers. See, you named 19 people. I can tell you, I was around when the Free National Movement was trying to get the thing started.
Mm-hmm.
I was about 14. I worked at the headquarters in Chippingham, and they couldn't find people. Hello.
Yeah.
People don't know this, you see.
Yeah.
They always thought that it was a big body.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't find people. They found people like my good old friend Spence. Spence must be dead now. I don't know where Spence is. Spence. And so I knew him as, they found all kind of people, looking for people, looking for people. You came out, you named 19. So some people are no big deal. That's a big deal to me because I've been around. I understand it. Now, you named 19 people, which is actually one person shy of forming a new government. You need 20 to form a new government at this point in time, unless they add some more. But at this point in time, you need 20 to form the government. You got 19. On the first run, the first go, the first move. See, I want to show the significance of this. You got 19. Now, it's only 3 years since the PLP has been in power. Next year, what do you find another 19? Year after that, what do you find another 19? You'll be over the top. That's what I'm trying to show people. So you got all these people who are now encouraged to be a part of the COI, and you can actually do this now because since people are encouraged, they're even now more motivated because they didn't expect that you can name 19.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, you name 19. Second time around, you can name whoever you want. You got 3 years, do it. Let's say you got 1 year to do it. You name another 19, how much that can be? You see, that's my point. All I'm saying is this. Are they viable? Yes, they are. I saw them myself. The people saw them themselves. We got people inside that particular organization right now who, in fact, can run circles around the present government right now.
That's correct.
I'm not kidding you. I wouldn't do that. I'm talking sense. They know it too. As a result of that, if you were to foist and forge and put together and play this thing right, who's to say they cannot look your way and say, boy, what a man. How did he do that? My brothers and sisters, this is lesson 101 in the forming of a political party. Don't worry about that these other people talking nonsense. See, the book on nonsense has been written by the Bahamas Press already. The book on nonsense has been written by the Bahamas Press already. Brave Davis then leave the Bahamas Press already. Let me be clear. Guess what Brave Davis has done? He came into office. He nursed them to him. They all went to him. Everything they got, they worked with him, but he didn't leave them point blank. Let me be clear. He has left them point blank. What do I mean by that? You check the record. All of them who you saw was hard on this Lincoln Bin and any other political party, and all sold out to this whole thing called media. They've been left to the side. In the third year, mark it, the third year of the PLP reign in power, the third year in office, all of them fellas, them looking for a new home. And guess what Brave did? See, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's up to you to believe me. Check the facts and you see it. The truth is this. While Davis did what he did, he picked up Clint Watson again. What do I mean by that? My friends, Clint Watson was fired for incompetence from the office of the Prime Minister just last year. Hello. Tell me, he was fired from the office of the Prime Minister last year. He is now the general manager, get this, of the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, ZNS, and he's hosting a show. Hello. He's hosting a show. I can't remember the name of the show. He's hosting a show, and he wants me to believe whatever he's saying after being fired for incompetence. All the mistakes he made at the office of Prime Minister, saying this and that was wrong, saying that and that was wrong. Check the record. Don't mind me. He was fired for that, and they let him go. They sent him to ZNS. The same government let him go and sent him to ZNS. Now he wants to pull that on us, the Bahamian public. You need to listen to this. He wants us now to believe that we should believe what he's saying now. 1 year later. That's how they got us for fools. 1 year later, he's telling us we could believe what he's saying now. He was in the Prime Minister's office, you know, as the press secretary. 1 year later, he's telling me, you could believe me now. Or some, I saying this now, you could believe this. Lord have mercy. Why should I listen to Mr. Watson? I like Mr. Watson, good friend. Why should I listen to him? For what reason? So I could be convinced what? To go with them? No. I don't think so. If many other persons think like I do, we'll have a better country. No question about it. Why should I be believing what he's saying now? Now, keep in mind something else has happened here. I just told you, Philip Brave Davis, the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, hired all of them fellas, them, from the Guardian, from the Tribune, from everybody else, clean out the media. But 3 years later, he didn't want to see them. So he went and got Clint Watson to do his bidding. Again. How's that for tricks? But you all ain't pick up that. You just figured out, oh, he don't control. No, don't get jealous. Brave gave you a chance. Brave gave all of the media a chance, except me. All of you all got your chance. Nahasha, that's the name. Mm-hmm. She gone away. Vaughn McCartney, He gone to Urkel. Should I continue the name more? I'm showing you something. Any Joe. You were used at a good time. It was good that Mr. Davis gave you the chance. So we got to know who you are, and we saw who you are. That's the size of that. Don't blame me. You made some money? Thank God for it. Credibility, where's it? Is your credibility still intact? Hold on, is your credibility still intact? Mm-hmm. Think about that. 5:38. Lincoln Bean, how you doing, sir?
I am awesome.
It's your time to let me talk to you. It's your time now. I just run on. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead,
man.
my friend. How you been?
I've been awesome.
This thing about you naming the 19 now, I wonder if you agree with what I'm saying, because you don't have to agree. You can disagree. The point is this. You name 19. Mm-hmm. You can name many more in the next 2 years. You can. Will you? What's going to happen? What's going to happen with these people who you now have? These people they came out of the woods quickly, because they want to see change. Now, what about those people who just hanging tight and can't move now? See, that's the other element. There's some people who hanging tight and can't move now. That's just the nature of politics. I remember when I was running for the CDR, yeah, Better Knowledge Party. Mm-hmm. Man, I was ready to go. They say, Steve, you can't make me move like that now, because that's what everybody does. So I had to stay back. You see what I'm saying? Party flunked anyway, but that's what happened. Same thing happened with the Democratic Brandon's party.
What are they? DNA.
DNA.
Yes.
Same thing happened with them. I was all dressed up, had on my clothes, my green, straight true, money green. I look good in that suit. Same thing happened. Got to pull back. So there are people who, we make light of it now. There are people who want to move now, and they can't move now because it's just inconvenience. They have a good job, and they don't want to jeopardize that. And we understand that. I guess that's what happens. That's the nature of the game in the Bahamas. But what if you were able to say the whole lot? That really would be something else. Eh?
Yeah, it would be. First of all, I think that we have made history. For those history buffs out there, I think that we have made history. I don't think any party has put out their candidates this early in the campaign season, just 3 years into an administration. So I think that it shows that we're working. Election came and gone, and we continued to work. We continued to fight for the Bahamian people. Even the week of election, we were jumping on the plane to go to Inagua to make sure that they sent back all of those persons who were invading our country all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. And so we never stopped working for the Bahamian people. And no one has ever seen that in history. I am very confident in the persons that we have put forward. We've put forward a strong team, a very good team. And I believe that these people alone, even though we're going to bring out some more in short order, there are some that we just chose not to release yet. You don't show your whole hand when you're playing pluck, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't show your whole hand when you're playing poker. But we release some of them, and we are still vetting more persons. We have some other areas where there were so many people that applied, like for North Abaco, for example, that we have to go through all of the vetting and the process in order to get to that. And so there are some areas where more than one person applied, and we have to make sure that we have a fair process. But we are proud of the fact that Bahamians are ready to stand up. And we want to make it clear that these are not typical politicians. These aren't the people you saw running over and over and over again and only want to get into office. These are actual professionals who have had enough with the way this country is being run, and they literally and seriously want to see a change in this nation. And so I am proud of all of them for taking this stand and standing with us and for us, with us, the Bahamian people, and for us, the Bahamian people. And so this crew of people are very talented, and I think that you're going to see some good things from them. We've put together, the typical doctors and lawyers and accountants. So we've also put computer scientists and billing contractors. We put 4 teachers and a university professor, technicians. So we put together a team of qualified people who are ready to take this country to the next level.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know that this is something in keeping with what your philosophy is for the party. And I just want to talk some more about this whole matter because it did not get the kind of play I thought it would have gotten because I noted the same ideas and thoughts that you had when the party was first announced.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the fact that you named 19. That was a big thing coming out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who knows a little bit of politics will understand that 19 is a big number.
Yeah.
19 is a winning number. 19 is a number that got the Free National Movement in office.
Mm-hmm.
See, you get to know how this thing go. And the point is this: if you need 19 and you came out of the gate with 19, and you look at the facts and you say, boy, the conjecture is that we can name another 14, we can name another 4, we can name another this. People ought to see what that means.
Mm-hmm.
If they know anything about at all about politics in this day and time. And when you look at this day and time, Lincoln, you're talking about a situation where anything could happen now because this is a crucial year. A crucial year. You're looking at an immigration problem that will not go away. You're looking at a crime problem that will not go away. You're looking at the security problem of people who can't get on their property. You're looking at all kinds of things like this. And it's a crucial time in the lifetime of Bahamians. Bahamians have got to be thinking now that I've got to get a piece of this rock that belongs to me before these other people get a piece of this rock that belongs to not them, but to me. And no one is doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
The only person who they say is doing anything about it is Lincoln Bain and the COI party. That's got to be a big ticket for you on the agenda for politics. And that's got to be a big ticket. Immigration has to be a huge ticket for you on the agenda of politics because these are the elements that will actually make up why people will vote yay or nay for the parties that are now existing in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
What say you along those lines? Because I named some things today that are very, very important, apart from just all the water problems and the things that we have. And you've got a ton of those things, electrical problems, water problems, all that. The government seems to be selling off a whole lot of things anyway. And so people are now looking at somebody who's going to look out for them. That's what the bottom line really is. What say you about those matters?
The country is falling apart. Our major problem in this country is corruption. All right, corruption is our biggest issue, Steve. It's not just immigration. It's not just crime. It's corruption. I ran a story last night on my live, talking about what's going on at Old Bahama Bay, and it has a lot of the government's hand in it. All right, and that's something else I'm going to release more on that pretty soon. But the hotel is being run by someone who is chummy with the present politicians, and these wealthy foreigners who invested in our country, they literally being screwed. And they met with the government, they wrote the prime minister, they met with ministers, including Chester Cooper and Ginger Moxie, etc. And they can't seem to get any justice. Go and look at my live yesterday and you'll see details of that. And these people are saying that we invest in this country. Now we're telling all of our friends, our wealthy friends, don't invest in the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. Go and visit maybe, but don't invest, because of what's going on.
And that's only because of the fact that They don't feel that there's any justice in this town when it
That's
comes
what they
to
feel.
business
The
investments.
same way Bahamians feels. And so we have to get rid of the corruption first and foremost. Then we won't have an immigration problem. We have immigration problem because the politicians are benefiting from selling our birthright, from selling our papers, et cetera, et cetera. We have a crime problem because the politicians are allowing it to happen. All right. And so we're going to fix all of this by getting rid of the corruption, Steve. And we're putting forward a good team of candidates who believe in this country. They are qualified, and you're going to start to see a lot of them. We're going to allow them to come on your show, and we're going to introduce them to the Bahamian public, allow you to get to know them some more, and you're going to see what we see.
Well, I certainly like that because the fact of the matter is this. I've been trying my best to get most of these people on the show. When I say most of these people, I'm talking to, generally speaking, politicians.
Mm-hmm.
They have refused to come. You've been hearing me over and over and over bellow out the cry every single day that I can't hear from Michael Pintar. I can't hear from Dwayne Sands. I can't hear from these people. I can't hear from no PLP politicians. And my whole thing is that they're not hurting me because the show goes on with or without them. They're not hurting me. What they're doing is they're mashing up the Bahamian people because obviously the Bahamian people are knowing that they don't want to talk to us. They're hiding. I did a show when I said to them during the week of that Monday, the anniversary, I said to them, listen, please come and say to me, what did you all have done? For the whole week, just come and say what you all have done. I asked the callers, I said, you people out there who are listening, call and say what you think they have done. Have they done anything for you lately? And I'm saying that, I'm trying to help them to get there, to say that this is what we have done. No one moved, nobody got hurt. They couldn't move. The PLPs never moved. Their callers never moved. Hold on, I'm showing you, this is supposed to help them. The Free National Movement people never moved. And it's not because they are afraid to come. I don't think that they are, because I mind like them, they mind like me, no big deal. We can sit down and chat, and that's it. And we shake hands at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
everything is beautiful.
Steve, you sorry to interrupt you, but Steve, you know I'm a straight shooter. I think you have to be a little more fair with the government. The government has done some things. The government has done a lot of things, actually. The government has raised taxes on all of the Bahamian people.
Oh, you think they're going to say that?
They have.
You think that's what they're going to say?
Yeah, the government has introduced new taxes on the Bahamian people.
Yes,
so they've done some things. The government has allowed our country to be invaded by foreigners. The government has sold out our papers in immigration. Okay, the government has given contracts to their contracts have come out publicly, put out voice notes to say that they went shopping for contracts to different ministries. Never in the history of the Bahamas. The government has said they've broken the law as it relates to procurement. They just said we're breaking the law. We don't care. And so the government has done a lot of things. So you have to be fair, Steve.
No,
all right.
I hear what you're saying.
The opposition has done a lot of things also. Mm-hmm. The opposition has aided and abetted the government in their darkness. The leader.
I hear what you're saying.
The leader of the opposition has traveled with the prime minister and spent $1.5 million on one trip.
Absolutely.
They have aided and abetted the stealing of our sovereign wealth fund, Steve. The opposition has done that. So the government did it, and the opposition aided and abetted them stealing our sovereign wealth fund and our carbon credits.
No.
And so they've both done a lot to the Bahamian people. The government has taken our Hurricane Dorian supplies that was given to us freely, and they have auctioned it off. They have done a lot of things.
That's what I'm saying. Now, do you think that they're going to say, this is what we have done? Because all those things seem positive, they are negative. They have done nothing, is what you're saying to me. I said to them, I want you to come on and say, these are the things that we think that we would have done. That's positive in the country.
I'll tell you what they're going to say. They're going to say that they are going to build 2 hospitals. All right. They are going to build an airport in Cat Island. All right. So they're going to tell you about a lot of things they are going to do. All right. And that's all they can say. And so that's all they've done. They have done nothing. They have accomplished nothing. They're gonna say that they raised minimum wage, all right, by $50, but they're not gonna say that they increase everything else, or that $50 and more went away. And so now they're talking about raising by 25 cents your gas tax. You don't think we're going through enough? You're going to raise not the gas tax, the margin, 25 cents. It would make more sense for the government to cut their taxes by 25 cents rather than to raise the margin 25 cents. And they're saying that we're going to be able to afford it. And they started quoting how much gas is going to cost now,
250,
how much more, right? But see, it doesn't work that way. When you raise the price of fuel by 25 cents, that is going to come back to us in other ways. Because guess what? The food store trucks that they move around, they got to buy gas. They're going to put that price of gas, that additional price of gas, on your apples and oranges and eggs. They're going to put that on you. All right. Other companies that need to use gas, they're going to put that on you. BC, now they got to buy gasoline for their cars. They're going to put that on you. And so that is going to come back to the Bahamian people in other ways.
Of course it will.
It shocks me that they don't have economists in the government or the opposition to really see the effects of these things. They have economists, but they have corrupt people who will sit down and countenance evil. All right. And so don't ever say that the raising the price of gas by 25 cents is the only outcome or that's it. No, it has consequences.
He did that at the end of the day after he was caught in a jam and the fellas were going to go to Bay Street. They were going to go to Bay Street, Porky Dawson, them, and of course my friend from Roca. What was happening?
They got hoodwinked. With a promise.
So no, but I'm saying they may have gotten hoodwinked with a promise. You're probably right about that. I don't know. The point is this: they got a little something, and so Brave was able to get them to do something at that particular time to avoid that showdown on Bay Street. They didn't want that to see. That was going to affect all of the mariners in the waters, who go fishing. They need gas to go fishing. They got to go to get gas to go get fish. So that was going to have a multiplying effect all over the country. And so he did not want that to happen because that would affect a lot of those fellas up there who got them big boat and thing. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he had to do something. Now, I don't know if the dealers, the retailers got the fairest deal, but that's another story. We're going to talk about that some more and figure that out. The other thing, what I'm looking at, though, today, is that when you talk about all these prices that they're now figuring out to put on the people, we can't take no more taxes. We know that for a fact. We've been saying that for years now. We can't take no more taxes. They tax the people going out to the country to visit in the United States. They taxing us on that. They taxing us on all kinds of taxes. Now this whole thing with this people who are looking at the situation with well water, and all of this kind of stuff. I don't know if I'm understanding what they are already trying to get done. I think it's a bad idea in principle. I just don't like the whole idea of it. But, I stand to be corrected on many things if there is a correction to be made. The point is this: what do you make of what you see happening here with this well water tax and that kind of stuff? What's going on with that? I mean, is that something that you believe that our legislators ought to be dealing with in this day and time, in this particular period in 2024?
Steve, the COI is going to move the Bahamas from being a country dependent on taxes to a country that uses its natural resources for revenue. The taxes isn't working. Steve, if you have to constantly raise taxes over and over and over for 50 years, obviously it isn't working. If you have to keep doing it over and over and it can never be enough, come on, man. At some point you have to say, okay, this one doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. This isn't adding up. All right. And so it's like you're in a boat and there's a hole in the boat and you just keep bailing and bailing with a bucket. You keep trying to bail out the water and the water keeps coming in. No, it isn't working. You have to figure out something else. The bailing isn't going to help you. And so we want to transform this country. What the government seems to have is a whole team of people. Instead of finding solutions, they are finding ways to punish the Bahamian people for voting for them. They're sitting down saying, yeah, these people voted for us.
Is that what they're trying to do?
Yes. Let's see how we can punish them. All right. That's what they're doing every time. Let's punish them for being so silly that they would vote for us again. They just got rid of us and they put us back here. Let's see how we could whip them. Let's just whip them, put blows on them. Let's let them take it. And that's what they seem to be doing. Like they have a whole committee sitting down saying, what can we tax? Oh, they like Facebook. Let's tax them on Facebook. They tax us on Facebook. Oh, a bunch of them starting to use Airbnb. Let's tax the Airbnbs. Oh, this Starlink coming. All right, Starlink is from the US. They ain't even located here. Too bad. We'll tax Starlink. They are finding every way. Oh, you like Brownie and Blackie? We can tax your dogs. Now you got to pay tax on your dogs. So they have come up with so much creative taxes that they're running out of ideas. They are sitting down and all this money we paying them. They say, God, we what else we could tax? Oh, well water. Now they're going to tax our well water, Steve, because they say, even people out of Kong, let's tax the well water. But notice, I've said this over and over on the radio, and it's like people, I don't know if people are getting this, how politicians work.
They don't.
I actually learned this from Tennyson Wells. He said, this is political strategy. First, you just put out a little story to see how people respond to it.
It's called a
and
floater.
It's a call of floater. Yes, you're a media man, a PR man. And so you put the floater out there. And if people respond aggressively, then you come back and say, no, we was never going to do that. That was just an idea someone was putting out there. And then you go back on it. But if no one says anything, you say, okay, let's go full force with it. And so that's what they do. Mm-hmm. And so now I can tell you what's going to happen. By the news cycle tonight, you're going to see the Prime Minister come out and say, because of the backlash today, and because they saw I was going live, they're going to come out and say, oh, no, we're not going to raise any taxes on water, and we're not going to charge you taxes on well water. I guarantee you that. All right? I guarantee you that because of the backlash. And Bahamians have to learn that. If you learn that, you'll realize that you can control the politicians. If you say nothing, they can spank you. If you say something, when you stand up, they have to stand down. You see? And so they don't want to hear you screaming. All right? They don't want the people hear you screaming.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen with this. But then in any event, for them to even consider that, because it came from water and sewage, it came from the government. Yeah. All right. And so this is what they're planning. Now, when Brave comes out and says, someone is saying on Facebook that he already did. They're saying that he already did. He came out and said that I guess they're saying he's not going to do it anymore. All right. This is the problem with that. This is the problem with that. Brave David said he wasn't going to let them raise your electricity. Remember that? He was not going to let them raise it. It will not happen. He will not let them raise the fuel surcharge. And guess what? A couple of weeks later, boom, we're raising the fuel. He had big press statement. We're raising the fuel surcharge. Brave David said after Miles Aroda said that they were going to raise NIB, Brave Davis himself came on and said, no. We'll not let them raise the NIB. It's not going to happen. A couple of weeks later, we're raising the NIB, but we could do it next year, July. You can't believe anything Brave says. The only way you know the truth when you're dealing with Brave is the opposite of whatever he says. Whatever is the opposite of what Brave say, that's what the truth is. That's how you know the truth. But if you listen to Brave, he can say anything right there and just appease people. The gas station people just experience that. But that's another story. And so with that, if Brave said they ain't gonna do this thing with tax on the water, you know what's about to happen. But here's the problem with the taxes on the water. There's a serious problem with that. You're already being taxed on your water, on your well water. You're already paying all kinds of taxes related to that. When you get your well dig, don't you pay VAT to get your well dig?
Yes.
When you buy the tank, you pay VAT. When you buy the pump, the pipes, etc. All of these are one-time VAT prices you have to pay, the housing, the wood and stuff to cover it. That's VAT you pay. And then you pay taxes constantly on the maintenance because you have to constantly change your filters. I don't know how much they cost, $20, $30. You have to constantly change these filters. You have to buy tablets to put in them. You have to repair these things. So you are constantly paying tax. Do we have any economists in the government?
Apparently not.
This is economics 101. You have to look at the effect of everything you do, not just at the thing itself. And so, yes, we are paying constant taxes already on the well water. And on top of that, the biggest thing I didn't list, electricity. You're paying VAT on electricity. So you're being taxed for the use of that well water.
How do you suppose, Lincoln Dean, all of this is going to come to a head? Because it has got to come to a head, you know. This cannot just be happening in a vacuum and that's it. And the people just go mosey on down the road and say, well, you know, that's how life is. So what? I just got to go and do what I could do, make the best of it. This has to come to a head.
When
you're looking at the immigration problem, you're looking at the crime problem, you're looking at all these irregularities that's been happening with the crime and the police and all that. You know, and I see Clint Watson was on the television with talking about with Clayton Fernanda, and they're basically showing off. I call it that he looks all confident now that you know, this is what we're doing, and we're going to do this thing at the end of the year. We're going to have a decision by the end of December. You know, I mean, they're playing politics with it. This is crime we're talking about. It's not politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's crime. It's a serious thing. You need to tackle crime now. You got to stop it now. And I say that to say this. How you could be putting off something until next year because you ain't ready to deal with it yet? I mean, come on, man. We're dealing with crime.
Mm-hmm.
What are we dealing with? And I'm saying all these things are happening, and I'm wondering, this has to come to a head somehow, some way.
Well, when you have a bump or a pimple on you and it comes to head, you have to burst it. Either you burst it or you get an infection. You let it stay right there and you get an infection.
Yes.
Well, our governance has come to a head with the PLP and F&M, and we got to burst them. We got to let them go. We got to release and clean that wound. We have to burst them. So when those PLPs and F&M show up to your door this election season, just take something and burst them, because we've had enough of them. Just grab something. Like how you will pick up something and stick your pimple and burst it and get rid of the pus and the abscess. Just when they come to your door knocking, after all they've done to you, just pick up something and burst them. Because I know I'm saying the words that a lot of Bahamians feel right now, because they are bursting you every time you go to the food store. Every time you go to the food store, that's violence they are putting on you. They are allowing inflation to stay. Other countries have done things to reduce inflation. They're allowing inflation to stay up because they're making more money in taxes. They are allowing it to happen, Steve. They want it to happen. And so every time you get your your electricity bill, that's violence they are putting you through. Violence, Steve, because F&Ms and PLPs are making money from this. Focal is owned by the F&M and PLP, and they are benefiting from your sufferation. They are buying these old generators that need parts because they're going to make the money selling the parts to the government. And so when the generators break down, that's more money for them. So you are suffering through the night. Mosquitoes eating you, biting up your little baby, because they are making millions of dollars, and you would dare to pick up a pom-pom and shake that for them. While they are raping and robbing you, you are cheering them on. That is what is happening in this country right now. They benefit from everything that we suffer from. Every sufferation that we go through, it's the PLP and F&M that benefits from it. You could name anything that is wrong in this country, they are benefiting. We have no good hospitals because they are benefiting from us having to pay more for private health care. So they're not going to give you a good hospital. Think about it. They could borrow money from the Chinese for a little so-called specialty hospital, like call a clinic. But they can't borrow money to do a real hospital that we really need. Come on. No, because they are benefiting from your sufferation. They are benefiting by not educating your children, because they benefit from your ignorance, because ignorance is power. They are benefiting, Steve. And that's where the problem in this country is. They are benefiting from electricity not working well. They are benefiting from crime. They're lawyers. They are benefiting from the crime rages going on in this country. They are benefiting from you eating for export only food that comes to the United States. Because they won't let you grow food here because they make, they bring in $2 billion worth. And the real value is valued more because they sell it for more than the value they bring it in for. They are benefiting from you eating that cancerous food that they're bringing in. Think about it. Everything that makes us suffer, the F&M and PLP is benefiting from. So your only future with them is more sufferation. Steve, these people are so incompetent. How are you borrowing us into the grave? Why would you borrow $1.4 million to buy ambulances, Steve? Use ambulances.
I don't know. It baffles me.
Man, Steve, they could ask me for that. I would have gone in the corner and begged that for them. $1.4 million for ambulances, used ambulances. You know our country has reached Junsa level, street beggar level. When you borrowing $1.4 million, if you borrowing $1.4 million, you failed. So
$1.4 million.
Pintard and Brave jump on a plane to go to England and spend $1.5 million. Cash, boom, cash. Look at us, dressed right up, best hat, first class, eating caviar, champagne. They pay for that like nothing. But they borrow 1.4 because something we need. We didn't need to see y'all dress up. We didn't need that. You didn't have to go. Jamaica's prime minister didn't go. They went to Africa and borrowed $30 million for a shopping center. You know we reached Junsa level.
Say again.
$30 million. Because they want to say, oh, you see, this is the fruits of this is the African Import-Export Bank,
okay.
right? They actually came over here. But they trying to justify these trips. So they say, see, we got Africa to give us $30 million to build a shopping center in Freeport. Things are looking up in Freeport because you built a shopping center. Seriously? I mean, this is the stuff that's happening in this country. And this is insane to sensible people.
Do you think that people now have just...
No, but I want to...
Just tune them out. I mean, because you really... I mean...
When you see Bahamians go quiet, they're about to deal with you. But I just want to say this. I want to show you the pattern here. They borrowed us $30 million. It looked like someone getting some money somewhere under the table for these loans because someone could benefit. Whoever giving you that loan could benefit from that loan. You then borrowed $50 million. They just borrowed another $50 million. For what? $50 million for what?
So we're borrowing.
Are they borrowing relatively small money for government?
Maybe that's all they can get. Maybe they max out their borrowing.
$50 million? Like we've from the Arabs? Like you actually went to Dubai. Yes. You went to Dubai.
Yes.
Stand on the street corner and say, please, sir, can I have some more? Like beggars. But you didn't notice in the Middle East them making their citizens wealthy, using their natural resources. You didn't see that part. You didn't see all the benefits they're giving to their citizens. How you skip over that and just begging them?
Shortcut.
We are in a worse slavery than we came out of. The borrower is slave to the lender. Now we don't just have one slave master. The white man was our slave master one time ago. Now the Africans are our slave master. The Arabs are our slave master. The Chinese are our slave masters. We got all kind of slave masters. Jesus.
We don't know who.
And they bragging. They feel like they doing so good. And they selling this as if, listen, man, we just get another loan. Hallelujah. Like what? Steve, if you got to borrow to buy grocery for your children, you failing. Not that anyone can get to that point, but just realize where you are. So you could get out of it.
Right.
If you got to borrow to get gas money to get to work, Steve, that ain't nothing to brag about. You don't then go to your children and say, boy, I just borrowed $10 to put gas in the car to drop you all to school. Ain't daddy good? Ain't daddy good? And guess what? Daddy gonna borrow your lunch money tomorrow. This is happening right before our eyes, Steve.
I understand you, man. I understand you clearly.
While we got natural resources worth trillions of dollars that they just sitting on, because no, they didn't want that. Don't touch that. Let's keep borrowing. Because if you touch that, the people can start asking for their share. Because
you don't want to touch that.
No,
Carbon credits and all
the
that.
biggest strategy of politicians is to keep you poor so that when they come with their crumbs, you feel like they did the world for you. Steve, if you come to someone,
picking up to that.
They're starting to. When you come to someone who ain't hurting and you say, man, listen, hold on, $50, man. They be like, what? I straight. What you get $50 for what?
Well, buddy, you better come. You better get real.
But when someone's suffering and hungry, they forget that you caused them to suffer and be hungry.
Yeah.
They don't think about that. They just say, man, that's a good man. The man nice, eh? They want to see him nice. While they are the persons that put you in that problem.
Vulnerable. A lot of our women are just, a lot of our men are vulnerable. Things are bad in this country.
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying it all these times, many, many years. It doesn't seem as if people are getting the message. I hope that they're getting the message through. I mean, I know that for a fact because when I talk with people now, they're saying things like, boy, we can have to do something. That's all they're saying. And they don't want to even talk about it. It's so bad now. Their whole thing is that we can have to do something. They don't want to talk about it. That's how ugly things are. And I believe that our governments, past and present, their whole thing is that they can be okay. They can be okay. They keep saying it themselves. They can be okay. Yet, they don't even visit. They don't visit the people in the constituencies. They don't even see if people really need something. Because everybody's thinking now, you all only want to because you all want something.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody got that bad idea and attitude with the Bahamian people. So the Bahamian people got no way out. See, once upon a time, there was a fellow named Pending who used to do some things. And, he made sure that certain things were kept at a minimum. Light bill was going to be every 3 months. Water bill going to be, see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he gave you a little distance, a little break. He was
F&M and PLP couldn't wait 3 months to get their money no more.
You see what I'm saying?
Because that go into them. The fuel surcharge is a ripoff because it has nothing to do with the price of fuel. They instituted that, they said, to pay a loan. To pay a loan. How you could charge us a fuel surcharge? Why didn't say it's a loan surcharge? Because you left us uneducated and we ain't never go and read to really see what it is. So you call it something that it's not. That's fraud. And the fuel surcharge remains to this day.
Right now.
From the first Christie administration to now. Over 2 decades later, because we ain't say nothing.
See, apparently there are some people who got it made in the shade and they ain't checking for us and we shouldn't be checking for them, but the people are still somehow looking for them to provide some answers and some relief and that kind of stuff. And our people are in a bad way. That's what I'm saying. And I don't like the fact that our people are in a bad way. We've come this far, all this long time. We've been just traveling. We've traveled too far to be at this particular point in time in 2024 and still talking nonsense about a tax on water. I can't get over that. Just the idea of that alone just irritates me.
Steve, when we get in, one of the first things we're going to do is we are going to buy Morton salt.
Good.
We're going to control the world's salt. We're going to make them an offer. I can't say that they're going to sell. But the company that owns Morton salt, we are going to buy that. I don't care how much it costs. We're going to buy that. Because we have 13 salt ponds that are not being used in this country, underutilized. We could control the salt in the whole entire world. That company was up for sale during the lockdowns for a few $100 million that we'll go and borrow like nothing in the House of Assembly. They'll come and say, okay, we're borrowing $500 million. We're borrowing $1 billion. Sometimes they borrow $5 billion in one term. They couldn't find a few $100 million to buy modern salt. And I don't mean modern salt in Agua. I'm talking about modern salt around the world. And Agua is just one outpost. The world's salts we could have controlled. These people are not thinking forward. They're still thinking like slaves.
That's what I'm saying.
Brave is still thinking like the era he grew up in.
Now you're picking up.
He grew up in an era where you just Massa just come and Massa come with the ideas. We ain't smart enough to know these things. Whatever Massa wants.
You just said it. You just said it. He grew up in an era when I told you earlier, we all grew up waiting on the back porch. You understand? See, I'm showing you something.
Yes.
And he's bringing those things now fast forward into the future of the new Bahamas today. That cannot be serious about that. He should shun that. But he wanted,
we are going to be the lender and not the borrower, Steve. We are going to be the lender. We are, like Qatar is now doing, like Dubai and other countries are now doing, United Arab Emirates, I should say. We are going to be the lender. America borrows $500 billion every year from China. China is still considered third world developing nation.
But America borrows
from them.
Anyway, it is 19 past the hour, 6 o'clock. It's Monday, the 23rd day in the month of September. We're live on Hard Copy. Lincoln Bean and I are there today, and we've been talking about a number of things. We're going to get back to one or two other things that we've not dealt with yet. But I know it's interesting. It's interesting because sometimes you just hide things from people by putting it in the newspaper, and they're reading the newspaper. They didn't even know these people talking foolishness about they don't raise the well water. They're going to tax the well's water. I mean, come on, man. It's got to be backward thinking. My Lord. This is Hard Copy.
We're going to commercial break. We'll be right back. You won't be able to hear us while we're on the break.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to our show today. This is Hard Copy Live. We're on with Lincoln Bean today. We're talking about things that like taxing the water in our wells, and also we're talking today about the fact that Lincoln Bain has done a tremendous job in making sure that the people of this country will get proper representation in the House of Assembly come 2026. And that's the year what everybody's looking at because they're short tied of a lot of things that they've been seeing these days. Crime is up, immigration is up, all kinds of things are up, and there seems to be no relief as to what we're going to really do. And of course, the people are bewildered. They can't believe it is not going this well at all. And after this is after 3 years of PLP being in power this time around. And we asked the questions earlier, what have they done? And what in particular have they done for you as a people? And the answers are slow in coming. In fact, the PLPs have not been giving any answers at all. They've just been trying to now move quickly and say, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're now doing. Here's what we want to do. But is it a little too late? I don't know. The truth is, the focus is now really off them. The focus is really off them. The focus is now on trying to find a new group of people who mean us well in our country. And that's what we're going to be looking forward to in 2026, God's willing. Now, of course, Lincoln Bain is here with me on the show today. And so we're going to say to him one more time, hello, sir. And that is because of the fact that there are so many things that people are expecting you to say to them today.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to look at something that's going to happen. Hopefully, it will happen by 2026. You will be able to name all the people that you want to have named. The fact that you've got 19 out of the gate, the first crack at the gate, it's a very, very encouraging sign. People must be able to see it that way. There's some other elements that go along with that, and I told you about it earlier, and that is the fact that Clint Watson is now the man in the chair. He's the big man to watch because they're really not using the press anymore these days. They will use the press, oh, by the way, but that doesn't really count. Even though they're on the press is on their payroll, the fact of the matter is that they seem to have gotten away with murder with them, and they put them to the side. And that's what is actually happening. So the focus is now on Clint Watson only because he's now the one who's expected to save them within the PLP after they fired him as the man in charge of the Prime Minister's office, the press secretary. Now they're depending upon him one more time to bail them out. And that is what is actually happening. So all eyes are focused on him, and we will be watching. Mistakes cannot be made here because this is the people's time now. Forget about what you were doing back then and being a part of the episode. This is now the people's time for you to talk the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And when you hear things being mentioned like taxing on water, and you hear the police commissioner saying things like they're going to be naming the people from Scotland Yard or whoever in December of this year, you now know that watch this game carefully. Watch this game carefully. That's what I'm saying. So, Mr. Bain, what say you on these matters today? Especially, talk to me more about what you're expecting to have happen over the next few months with the newer candidates that you're going to be bringing out. This is the good crew that you've named so far. What's going to happen over the next few months and over and beyond in the next few months for that particular.
As I said at our convention, we're past the point of just going out to Bay Street to protest, to beg the government to do what is right. We're past that. We now know that they're not going to do what is right. And a lot of our protest was really just to bring awareness to what really was going on. That was the purpose of it. Not expecting the government to do what is right. And so what we decided to do was go and build a team, an army that can take this country back and deliver it to the Bahamian people. This is not about position for us or power for us. This is about power for the Bahamian people. We're going to take power from the politicians and give it to the Bahamian people. And so we needed a good team of persons to be able to do this. And as I said, you are going to be, allowed to have access to these people so we can represent them to the Bahamian people, that they can see that these are people who are visionaries to bring the change. As I said before, we have put forward 12 businessmen and women. We've put forward 2 lawyers, 2 accountants, 4 teachers, and 1 university professor, 4 computer scientists, 4 former police officers, 1 dentist, 3 building contractors, and developers. And so we have put together a team already. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's more to come. And so we want to change the system in this country, because the problem is the system. They always present to you qualified persons every election. And after election, after you vote for them, you get disappointed every time. You be like, well, we're all these qualified, this dream team. What happened to crime? Wayne Monroe, I thought he was smart. What happened here? What happened to the environment? I thought Rumi Ferrero was an environmentalist. What happened there? Oh, what happened to the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources? I thought Vaughn Miller was down with that. And you always get disappointed every single time. It's because of the system, and we're going to change the system, Steve. And this is what we preach every time. Mm-hmm. We're going to change the entire system, because the system is the problem. And so it's system change that you're going to get. And we just need a good group of people who are going to have the courage to bring the change that we need to see.
Tell me more about the family and development and all that, because I'm interested in that kind of stuff. I mean, what's going to happen in Ambush, that kind of thing? What's going to happen in those places like that, those far-flung places that people seem to be moving away from and coming into Nassau, trying to make a living in Nassau. Everybody can live on Nassau. And we've got to find a way to, in fact, make sure that people are able to spread themselves out in their various jurisdictions, the various places of their settlements and the rest of it, and build those places up. Ambulances, the actual ambulance, the ambulatory care, the police cars, that kind. We need to make sure that these people are able to live in their own areas to bring about the kind of local government that we are looking forward to. These things should have been happening a long time ago. They have not happened. And as a result of it, we are where we are today. Everybody's stuck in Nassau. The cars are just crazy over this place is crazy. Everybody's speeding up and down Nassau because they ain't got no place else to go. They ain't no family islands. What are we going to do to harness the kind of growth that we want to see happen in this Bahamas?
Let me put this in a metaphor for you, Steve. What's happening with the family islands is like a woman who has a lousy, no good boyfriend who don't want to work and don't want to take care of herself, and she is sending money to him and taking care of him. So what happens is that woman is going to be broke. She don't have for herself, and he is taking all of her money and partying and living his best life. And every so often he comes to her and sweets her up and say, "Baby, I love you," and use the apple of my eye. And he sweets her up every so often, and then he goes off again and does what he has to do. That's what it's like for the family island. It's like that really for all the Bahamian people, because that's what we suffer in elections. But that's what's happening. And so the family island people are sending their money to Nassau. Every single year, they are constantly sending their money to Nassau, and they're getting nothing back. The politicians come and sweet them up, and they're sending their money away, and they're getting nothing. That's why it's not developed. It's simple as that, Steve. We need to change the system. And this is where island states and city government comes in.
Tell me about that.
So island states means that the money made on your island stays on your island. You pay a royalty to the central government so they could do central government functions like police, etc. And so the majority of the money stays with you. You have your own budget, and you determine what happens in your islands.
Is that talk resonating with the people?
It is, especially the people on the family islands who understand it, who need it, who are suffering. Every single one of our family islands is neglected. Everyone. They still talking, 50 years later, they still talking about running water, but laying pipes. 50 years to lay pipes? You see what other countries have done in 50 years? Like, seriously, we still talking about laying pipes 50 years, water. Some people say let them dig wells. Some of the people are so close to the ocean because how they developed the Family Islands that the water would be brackish if they dig wells. And some of them are living with that. And so that's a problem. So for those who don't understand it. But to be talking about the most basic of needs, water, 50 years later. If you stuck on a desert island, the first thing you're going to try to make sure you locate is water. That's priority number one. No
question about it.
50 years later, Steve, we still talking about water. They still talking about taxing wells. They should be ashamed to be talking about wells that the Bahamians have to dig wells.
I think there are a lot of things they'd be ashamed.
And they've just finished talking about the water being contaminated. When Halson Mutri dug those wells in Nassau Village, they said that, oh, the well is, this is PLP said no. Oh, that's contaminated water. And yeah, he digging wells, he trying to kill the people and this and that. So you said it's contaminated. Okay, the water contaminated. But you didn't provide water to all of Nassau yet? To all of the Family Islands yet? So I said that to say, island states is going to make sure that you have the money. The concept is that America's greatness is because there's 50 countries in one. All right? And so each of their states is like a country. And when you put all of them together, that's what makes them great. Europe caught on to that and they said, oh, we got to do a European Union. And yes. So we got to work together in order to get that power and that strength that they have. And so in the Bahamas, we're going to have that same concept because we believe that each one of our islands can compete with the economies of countries. We believe that Grand Bahama, the economy of that can compete with the economy of Jamaica, Barbados, Cayman, Bermuda. Why can't each of our major islands compete with their GDP like a country? It's because we have no vision. It's because the vision is supposed to come from the people. The people of Florida decide what happens in Florida. The people of Texas decide what happens in Texas. And so we are going to give the power to the people of the Bahamas. Now, if you want to keep depending on these politicians and getting let down every time, then someone say, how do we know that Lincoln Bain is going to do
satisfied to know that this is no dream. This is something that is a real thing, a reality thing that can actually happen in our town if we just would know all the details of it, that kind of thing. Not that I expect you to talk about the details of it today, but I'm just saying I want to put that in the front of you as a means of what may be something that people have been talking about for a long time, that they don't believe that can happen. They don't believe this can happen, that kind of thing. I want you to address that. Seriously address it, because the truth is something has got to happen for we the people, because we need something to happen for us.
Yeah. The truth is, there are some people who don't believe that can happen. And that's because they've always made us dream small in this country. And that's why 50 years later, they still in the House of Assembly talking about laying pipes on family islands. They still talking, the big talk is paving roads on the family island. That's
You're
the
right
big
about it.
accomplishment. And they've always made us feel like we should have nothing. When a foreigner comes here and wants to pay us $20 an hour, they say, no, don't give them that. Don't give them that. That's too much. You can't give that to them. And so they have made us be used to having nothing so that they can continue to oppress us. So there will be people who will feel that this is not possible, even though they're seeing it in other countries. And many of us don't travel, so we don't see what is possible. Our politicians do. They know what's possible, but they don't want us to get it. The biggest problem with slavery, Steve, wasn't slavery. It was the fact that after slaves were freed, slaves stayed on the plantation. They didn't believe that they could be free.
Yeah.
It didn't even make sense. That was the tragedy of slavery. You see, the original tragedy was that you were forced to be there. The real tragedy was when you were so stuck. It's like you have a bird in a cage for so long, you open the door,
he ain't going nowhere.
He ain't going nowhere. And if he go out, he go out and come right back.
This home, Papi, this home.
The slavery is in the mind. When the PLP was trying to tell the Bahamian people, the original PLP, that black people could govern this country, most Bahamians didn't believe.
You didn't believe it.
Most Bahamians voted against the PLP in 1967.
Clemente Maynard told me that.
Yeah.
Dr. Edward Dawson told me that. Loftus Roker told me that. They all over the years they told me that the people say, y'all can't govern this.
No, black people can't run this country. No, y'all never run no business. Y'all a bunch of nobodies. Y'all what y'all could do? They look down at them. They used to call them the beggar party. Randall folks wrote that in his book, Faith That Moved Mountains. Said they used to call the PLP the beggar party. So there's a bunch of broke people. How they run this country? Because people didn't believe. And so, yes, there are some people who believe that we can't own this country. We can't be put first in this country. And they're sitting down watching all the foreigners get whatever they want. That's the white foreigners and the black foreigners get whatever they want in this country. And the Bahamians can't get nothing. No rules for them. They can do whatever they want. They could come, thief a plane, land and crash the plane here, get a gun and shoot people and break in the houses. And then the prime minister of the country, I'm talking about Barefoot Bandit, the prime minister of the country will stand up in front of all of us and say he committed no crimes in the Bahamas. Like what? Let him go. We can see one rule for them. A whole Chinese ship get caught with a whole load of cocaine, bigger than any shipment we ever had in this country. And they say, oh, we didn't have no one to put it on. We didn't know who cocaine it is, so we had to let them go. We had the cocaine. Don't ask no questions. You can seize the ship? No. Let it go.
The ship too big to bring it.
different rules for foreigners than for Bahamians. We see for all these years, the foreigners from the south able to come here and just take our land, build on it, and then they find a couple instances where the Bahamians actually allowed them to rent from them on their land, and they say, see, that's what's happening. No, that ain't what happened. That happened, but there's some of them that just take the land.
So after all is said and done, and we see where we are today in this Bahamas, it's not a pretty picture. What's the end story? What's the end?
So we are going to bring a vision to this country, and we are going to empower our people to bring their vision and to implement this. We are going to transform this nation by putting educational institutions, for example, in Andros, in Freeport, so that persons from around the world want to come here to get their education. This is very doable. We just have to focus on it. We are going to transform Grand Bahama. We are into a cloud hosting facility where we host the cloud. This is a huge money business. AI, it's huge.
They don't know anything but AI. I mean, Lincoln, I'm sorry you're talking all this stuff, and these fellas, they didn't know what you're talking about.
This is vision.
I don't mean your people.
Yeah, I know.
The young people don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you see, these are not people who are back
What
then
people,
today.
yeah, what people understand is economics. Let me tell you something. Flowers told me a story. I had a business, the same place in one of his buildings with his office, and Flowers said to me when he decided that he was going into to numbers and he was going to do it in a different way, where it wasn't no more tickets, you do it online. He said he actually took that idea to the number man at the time. All right, to Percy Stokes and Gonzalez, and he said they laughed him out the room. He said he was so embarrassed. They laughed him. He saw this happening in Chicago because he was a pilot, and he was like, "We could do this in the Bahamas." And they laugh him. They say, "Listen, Grammy don't know nothing about no computer. Hey, Grammy again or no computer to buy no number. Boy, get out here." And they laugh him to scorn. And he scrap up, and he did his one location, and he did the web shop. And guess what? Grammy them used to be right in there. If they had to catch taxi to come there, they'd be right in there and they was pack in till they learn how to do it. All right? You see, you don't hold back the future because of people you feel aren't ready for the future. You have to move in that direction. And I believe that the Bahamas is ready for real vision. Real vision. I believe that we're ready to move forward. There's so much we can offer the world. Because of our proximity to America, there's so much we can do. We should have been one of the richest countries in the world. Japan became the second wealthiest country in the world and was never colonized. They actually colonized others because the world they were in the mouth of China. And if you wanted to get to China, you had to come through them.
Yeah.
Because you had to refuel your ship there and then continue the journey to get to China. They used the money they made to educate their people and to invest in their people and to empower their people. And that's how they benefited from it. And every time someone wanted to go to war with them, the other countries protected them. They say, "Oh, England, America trying to take us over, you know." And then England comes to America, don't you touch them. All of us need access to this. Behave. Or Russia trying to take us over, you know. And America and England come say, hey, step back. And they were in a good position. They knew their position. Singapore with no natural resources, zero. Perry Christie need to go there because he used to say, we have no natural resources. You need to go there and see it. They have zero natural resources. And they are one of the most wealthy countries in the world. And they were the mouthplace of Asia also. And they became wealthy because of it.
Why do you think our people are not passing on the information and bringing up a new cadre of young people who understand what it is that they need to be done?
The information is being passed on. We've changed the conversation in the Bahamas over the last several years. Everyone is talking about their natural resources now. There are still some people who feel like we are putting the dream too high. They feel like, no, everyone can't get $100,000, and they use that to attack us, when that really was the idea of Perry Christie and the union leaders, John Pinder and others. That was their idea about this $100,000. That did not come from the COI. All right. But they use it to say that we're using it as a political ploy. No, we're not.
One of the things that I find fascinating about you, Lincoln Bain, is this, and people have not perhaps even considered this. You were a student of Miles Monroe for a long time. And so the principal factor in where you come from and the kinds of things that you were a part of, you grew up under the auspices of Miles Monroe, who's our best preacher man in the world. I call him that. And so there's got to be some good in you. And I believe that you exhibit that good by doing the many things that you do all the time to help people all the time. That's got to be a good trait. See, I have to say that to you. That has to be a good trait that you have, because you can't be all that bad. You can't be all this a nobody kind of thing with some people to try to put in people's mind. The fella is a young man who wants to do good for the country. And here it is. He means well in trying to do good, because he's been doing more than most of you have been doing in the past and in the present, right now.
Yeah.
So when you come from this background like that, the moral side of you, I mean, you don't ever get to talk about that. You'd be so busy around with everything else that you don't get to talk about that. But people don't know who you really are when it comes to that part of it.
If persons want to see more about me, they can go to our website and there's a biography there of me. Go right to our front page and you'll see my biography. There's a lot of stuff there. Everything is in there, but there's some stuff there that you can see. A lot of that I've accomplished. I heard someone ask on WhatsApp before, what does he accomplish? A lot. And you can go to our website. But it's funny, with my beliefs, you don't brag about yourself. When you give, you don't brag, and that kind of stuff. When you do stuff, you don't brag. And so go to our website and you will see what they've put there about some things that I've accomplished. And then you can make your determination. Dr. Miles was not just a great preacher, man. He was probably the greatest leader this country has ever seen. Bahamians don't know how great that man was. You would be watching stuff on the news, and world leaders would be calling him for his advice. While they mightn't take his advice here in the Bahamas, I've traveled with him. He was not just my mentor, I've traveled with him. We traveled with him for years. I've gone to several continents with him, and I mean continents. And you would be sitting with him, and someone would be calling him to ask him his advice on something that you just watched on the news. And world leaders would listen to him, and he would have access to them all over Africa. They would want to hear from him. They would want to get his advice on things. And so I got to walk with him like Joshua, and be present with him while he was advising these people, and giving them decision making ideas. And so there's a lot to it. He gave to a lot of people and kept it secret. You heard some of it when he died. A lot of famous people said that this man helped them or changed their lives. And so I learned to do similar. You help people, and you can't talk all of it. It's funny in politics because if people don't know you did something, you didn't do it. So it's kind of a funny balance. And so sometimes you show certain things. But yes, I've done a lot in my short years that I've been alive on this earth. And we want to take that experience. And so have these candidates that you're about to see. They're very accomplished and talented. And they're a different generation of many ages, from in 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And they want to bring a change to this country. And that's what you're going to see. We have vision for this country that we're going to start unleashing on the Bahamian people in a minute. And then you have a choice. Go back to the F&M, more suffering that you got under them. Go back to the PLP, or let's try something different for once.
What do you think the people are going to do? You think the people are going to try something different, give themselves a chance? Do you think that they're going to do that?
I think the Bahamians are ready for change. The thing is that God always gives his people a choice, He'll give you the choice, and he'll say, if you do this can happen. If you do that can happen. He'll give you the choice. If you eat that fruit, this the results. He told them, I don't want a king for you. I have something different for you. No, we want a king like everybody else. If you get a king, this will happen. All right? He will tell you, but he would give you the desire of your heart. And I want to make this clear to everybody. Someone says the voice of the people is the voice of God. No, there's many times when the voice of the people is totally against God's will. Totally against his will. All right? That's not in the Bible. And there are many times that someone could become a ruler that God didn't want there. God anointed David as the ruler. He anointed him. At 15, he anointed him as the king, right? He would be the king because he decided Saul was finished. But David wasn't the king after Saul. His son, Ishbosheth, was the next king. Saul's son. David had to wait 22 years to become king. He was anointed the king, but he wasn't the next king. And God didn't anoint that one who was the leader, Saul's son. He didn't want him there, but he had his king waiting to go in place. So not because someone becomes prime minister means that that was supposed to be the person to be there. That's a little deep for some people. But if the Bahamians choose, I like how Dr. Miles said it, you could choose to go 50 years forward or 50 years backwards. That's your choice. You could choose. If you choose, see, a woman could pick that man who is bad to her and beating her and abusing her and ain't doing nothing for her. She could choose that, Or she could choose when a good man who want her and love her, like, he's Steve Urkel. When he see her, he just fall out. He loved this woman so much. She didn't want him. She want that bad one who no good, who go beat her and abuse her. And if she choose him, she's going to take the results. He's going to keep you barefoot, pregnant, and abused. And that's what the Bahamian people have been suffering from. Then at some point, by the time as you catch yourself and you want that one who really love you, it might be too late. And so for the Bahamian people, they have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Now, I know I've been getting abused. I ain't speaking for no one else. From the FNM and PLP. I don't mean personally. I mean as a citizen of this country. Every time we vote FNM, abuse. Every time we vote PLP, abuse. And so we, the Bahamian people, you see, at some point when that woman tired of that man depending on him to take care of her and his errands, she just have to decide, you know what? I could get out there and I could take care of my children. I could do what needs to be done. I could do this myself. I ain't worrying about him. I ain't even taking him to court. I could be the man. And I could take care of my children. I could do what I have to do. And ain't nothing more inspired and powerful than a woman who made that decision. I could make this happen for me and my kids. And that's like us. We are the abused brides. And we have decided we have had enough. And so we decided that we are qualified. That's us, COI candidates. We are qualified. We are Bahamians, not politicians. We ain't looking for politics. We hear people keep trying to throw that on us. You're all just like PLB laughing. You're all politicians. No, we Bahamians. And we've had enough. And we decided to do something. We have to stand up. Because if you put Pintard, Brent Simonet's Pip puppet there, Fred Smith's puppet there, you can suffer. You can be complete 6 months after, oh, look what they doing. Oh, they just like this. Oh, every time. So we've decided.
Don't give them no chance.
No. That we can come together ourselves as Bahamians. And we're going to put ourselves forth. And we're going to take this country back. Why? Because enough is enough. Now, you can't sit down complaining and don't want to do nothing. We've decided to do something, Steve. And that's what we believe. We believe that if we give Bahamians a chance, that they can make this happen. All the great ideas we need is right here amongst our 400,000 people. It's right here. We don't need no foreigner to come and tell us what to do. We know this Bahamas better than anybody. Because when you bring the foreigner in, guess what happens? He comes in,
learn from us.
And the Bahamians have to teach him. But he getting the big money and they getting the crumbs. You only had enough of that? Or we want more of that? Just jump up and down and shake his... No. We are going to transform this nation into a great nation that our children can come back home to. I am tired of seeing our families broken up. Our children, you know how hard it is for a parent to tell their child, I send you to school, don't come back. What is to tell your child, don't come back? Never? Gone? That's like death. Mommy, I ain't gonna see you no more. Only visit? Like I can't jump in the car and drive and just come eat some Johnny cake from you? Mommy, when I stress out, I can't come and put my head on your chest. We are breaking up our families. And our families are being replaced with other families. We gonna fight for this, Steve.
Spoken like a man who truly cares about the welfare and the good governance of this country. Think of me, and I want to thank you very kindly for being here today. I felt your passion just now, because that's why I asked you that question. The morals, the morality, the God-centeredness of you. People are looking for a leader. They need to know who they get, who they gonna get. They need to know it. And that's why that was a very encouraging thing that you said today about yourself and Miles. Very encouraging. I tell you that. I thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.
Amen.
And of course, we're going to get the others onto the show later this week. And Thursday, we've got Graham. He's going to be here. Graham Weatherford is going to be here.
Graham is a visionary. He's like the Bahamas Elon Musk.
So,
he has vision for this country. I will be honored to sit in the cabinet with him.
We'll talk with him on Thursday this week. Thank you so much, Lincoln Bain. All the best.
Thank you.